Woody Harrelson. His father was a professional hitman for the mafia. What actually happened? While we know him as a funny guy, his father, Charles Harrelson, was a professional hitman. He was sentenced to life in prison for assassinating a federal judge on behalf of a drug lord. Woody actually visited his father in prison regularly. Jack Nicholson. His sister was actually his biological mother. What actually happened? It's a real-life plot twist. For 37 years, Jack believed June was his older sister. In reality, she was his mother who got pregnant at 17, and Jack's grandmother raised him as her own son to hide the scandal. Jack only found out the truth when a Time magazine reporter uncovered it, not from his own family. Charlize Theron. Her mother shot and killed her father right in front of her. What actually happened? When Charlize was 15, her alcoholic father came home drunk with a gun, threatening to kill them. To save Charlize's life, her mother shot and killed him right in front of her. It was ruled as self-defense, and her mother faced no charges. Leighton Meester. She was born inside a federal prison. What actually happened? Ironically, she played a spoiled rich girl in Gossip Girl, but in real life, she was born in a federal prison hospital because her mother was serving time for smuggling drugs from Jamaica to the U.S. She was raised by her grandmother until her mother was released. Benedict Cumberbatch. He was kidnapped at gunpoint by a criminal gang in South Africa. What actually happened? While filming in South Africa in 2005, his car tire blew out. 6 armed men ambushed him, tied his hands, and threw him into the trunk of the car. He mentally prepared for death, but eventually managed to negotiate his release, and the kidnappers dumped him on the side of the road. Mark Wahlberg. He was imprisoned for brutal assault and attempted murder. What actually happened? Before becoming a movie star, Mark was a troubled teen. At 16, he attacked 2 Vietnamese men on the street while shouting racial slurs. He knocked one unconscious with a stick and punched the other in the eye. He was charged with attempted murder and sentenced to 2 years in prison, though he only served 45 days. Trejo. He was a real-life bank robber who met Charles Manson in prison. What actually happened? His fierce look isn't makeup. Danny was in and out of America's most dangerous prisons, San Quentin, for 11 years for armed robbery and drug offenses. Inside, he became a lightweight boxing champion and even met the infamous serial killer, Charles Manson. He only became an actor by accident when he visited a movie set to help a drug addict. Angelina Jolie. She once hired a hitman to kill herself. What actually happened? During a severe depression in her youth, Angelina wanted to end her life, but didn't want her family to feel guilty about a suicide. Her solution? She hired a professional hitman to kill her so it would look like a robbery. Luckily, the hitman told her to wait 1 month and think it over. In that month, her life improved and she canceled the contract. Samuel L. Jackson. He once held people hostage and was investigated by the FBI. What actually happened? In 1969, Samuel was a radical activist. He and a group of students held the board members of Morehouse College, including Martin Luther King Jr.'s father, hostage for 2 days to demand campus reform. The college agreed, but Samuel was expelled, and the FBI warned his mother that he would die if he stayed, so he had to flee to Los Angeles. Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean. He saved a plane from crashing when the pilot fainted midair. What actually happened? In stark contrast to his clumsy Mr. Bean character, Rowan is a real-life hero. While traveling on a small private plane in Kenya, the pilot completely fainted. Despite never having flown a plane before, Rowan took the controls and managed to keep the plane steady in the air until the pilot regained consciousness minutes later and landed safely. Jason Statham. He was an Olympic-level athlete and a black market salesman. What actually happened? Jason was a member of Britain's national diving squad for 12 years and nearly made the Olympics. However, to make money, he worked on the streets of London selling fake perfume and jewelry on the black market. This experience of hustling people on the street is exactly why Guy Ritchie cast him in his first movie, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Tom Hardy. He was a crack cocaine addict who faced 14 years in prison. What actually happened? In his youth, Tom was heavily addicted to alcohol and crack cocaine. He was once arrested for stealing a Mercedes and possessing an illegal gun. He could have faced 14 years in prison, but luckily got off. His turning point came when he woke up on a London street covered in blood and vomit, then decided to check into rehab. Bryan Cranston. He was once a prime suspect in a real-life murder investigation. What actually happened? Long before Breaking Bad, Bryan worked at a restaurant under a chef named Peter Wong, whom everyone hated. Bryan often joked that he would slice him up. Shortly after, the chef was actually murdered. Since Bryan had just quit and left town right when the murder happened, police immediately hunted him down as a prime suspect. Steve Buscemi. He returned to firefighting to help victims of the 9/11 attacks. What actually happened? Before Hollywood, Steve was a New York City firefighter. The day after the Twin Towers collapsed 9/11, he returned to his old fire station. He worked 12-hour shifts for a week, digging through the rubble alongside other firefighters to find survivors. He refused interviews at the time because he purely wanted to help. Matthew Broderick. He caused a car accident that killed 2 women in Ireland. What actually happened? While on vacation in Ireland with his girlfriend, Jennifer Grey from Dirty Dancing, Matthew drove into the wrong lane and crashed head-on into another car. The mother and daughter in the other car died instantly. He was only charged with careless driving and paid a $175 fine, which sparked public outrage for being too lenient. Liam Neeson. He was fired from being a teacher for punching a student. What actually happened? Before becoming the star of Taken, Liam was a school teacher. One day, a 15-year-old student pulled a knife on him in class. Feeling threatened, Liam instinctively punched the student in the face. Even though it was self-defense, Liam was fired from the school, which ultimately led him to pursue acting. Sylvester Stallone. He starred in an adult film because he was too poor. What actually happened? Long before his success as Rocky, Stallone was homeless and sleeping in a New York bus terminal for 3 weeks. Desperate for food money, he accepted a role in an adult film for just $200. Stallone admitted, "It was either do that movie or rob someone." Kelsey Grammer. His family suffered a horrific series of murders and tragedies. What actually happened? Kelsey's life is more tragic than any drama movie. His father was shot dead in front of his home. Years later, his younger sister was kidnapped, raped, and murdered by a spree killer. As if that wasn't enough, his 2 brothers died together in a tragic scuba diving accident, suspected shark attack or drowning. Tobey Maguire. He was the cruel poker king who inspired the movie Molly's Game. What actually happened? Behind the innocent face of Spider-Man, Tobey was a highly manipulative, high-stakes, illegal poker player. The character Player X in Molly's Game is based on him. He once told a woman to bark like a seal on the table for a $1,000 chip just to humiliate her. He was known for enjoying destroying other players' lives at the table. Jackie Chan. His mother was an opium smuggler and his father was a spy. What actually happened? Jackie Chan's parents' love story is insane. His father was a Chinese nationalist spy tasked with catching criminals. One day he arrested a notorious female opium smuggler from the underworld. Instead of jailing her, he fell in love. That woman later became Jackie Chan's mother. Drew Barrymore. She went to drug rehab at 12 and a mental institution at 13. What actually happened? Drew was a victim of childhood fame. Her mother took her to Studio 54 nightclubs as a toddler. As a result, she smoked at 9, drank alcohol at 11, and was addicted to cocaine by 12. At age 13, her mother put her in a mental institution for 18 months where she was locked in padded isolation rooms.